Welcome to Force 13 Live. You're watching our simulcast coverage on Force 13 US, which is currently underway at this point. They're going to be running for around 90 minutes. In 30 minutes time, we're running with the Force 13 US channel for that amount of time, and in about 30 minutes, we're going to be transferring to the main channel over here, and we'll be talking about Tropical Disturbance 1W, which has been named Amang in the Philippines. But now, Force 13 US.
This is Force 13 US and Caribbean Live.
This is Force 13 live, Saturday night, January 19th. This was a shot of the Crawford County Park District in Guyana, Ohio, an area I am very familiar with. This time-lapse shows just how treacherous the conditions have gotten over the course of the day. Numerous accidents have been reported, thousands of flights delayed, and it's only going to get worse as Winter Storm Harper starts its trek out of the Great Lakes and into the eastern coast of the United States. This is the current Mosaic National Radar, courtesy of the National Weather Service, where you guys can see the snow line is into the Great Lakes, moving into northern Pennsylvania and New York, and the severe weather threat that we were worried about last night has occurred. There have been numerous thunderstorms. There's currently a tornado watch in effect for the southern part of the U.S., Alabama and Georgia until 10 o'clock this evening. There have been 3 confirmed tornado warnings with a couple confirmed tornadoes that have touched down as of this evening. These are the current watches and warnings. As you guys can see, the severe thunderstorm threat is still there, along with the rain and snow threat in the northern part of the United States. Good evening, guys. This is Force 13 US coming to you from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Night 2 of Winter Storm Harper. As always, I'm Timothy Ringo. I will be your guys' host tonight. As you guys can see on my screen, National Weather Service radar and watches and warnings, and a current live stream of the watches and warnings that are coming in courtesy of the National Weather Service. This has been a very busy day for us here at Force 13 US. We've been covering this consistently throughout the day. And with me, as always, is our team consisting tonight of David and Max. Good evening, guys. Let me feed you guys in, and you guys can give your insight as to the situation that's unfolding for us. You guys are live. Don't tell me I've been having audio issues again. David, Max, you guys hear me? We are live. Okay, don't tell me you have audio issues again. Okay, I hear you guys.
Right, yeah, I at least. You're cutting out for me.
Oh, good Lord.
Yes, Tim.
Alright, there we go. Alright.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. I guess there's a little bit of delay, but yeah, you guys are live. And this is what the live radar you have showing on your screen, Thomas?
Yeah, this is live radar currently. So this is over the past 5 hours or so loading up right now.
Oh, good Lord. That has been a mess. And this is what we were discussing at the top of the show here. Those tornado warnings moving in through central Alabama and western Georgia. I know we had a couple tornado warnings before we went live earlier today. Are you seeing anything of that nature currently showing on your studio radar?
At this current time, if we pause it right here, no tornado warnings right now Currently, there are a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, though. You can see those accordingly. All of them are wind threats. No hail threat is to be seen. The storm predictions doesn't even have a 5% threat. You can see generally around 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time is when the one farthest north does expire. On the second one, it expires at 7 p.m. Central Time. And on the third one that you see down here, it expires 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Time.
All right, so if you guys are living in these areas, Point St. Joe, west of Tallahassee, up it through around Enterprise, Alabama, and up towards Macon, definitely if you guys are out and about or even watching this stream, make sure you are indoors. Make sure you guys have a plan of action for a area in the interior part of your home if a tornado does spawn. As we alluded to, there have been 3 confirmed tornado warnings, 2 with confirmed touchdowns earlier today in western Alabama. So this threat is very real. Let's see, Thomas, if you want to move towards the Great Lakes region, that'll be the next area we want to take a stop in, as this area has been getting pounded consistently with snow and ice throughout most of the day. Some of the National Weather Service alerts that we've been seeing has reported some snowfall amounts of anywhere between 8 and 11 inches in some areas, specifically the state of Ohio, which I have family at. Some of these counties are under level 1 and level 2 snow emergencies. That was a system I had talked about on last night's stream. So these are areas that are definitely very dangerous to be traversing on, very treacherous. Any viewers in the Ohio area, make sure you're calling your employer to see if you do have to report to work, as these roads are definitely not going to be suitable to be traveling on most of tonight and then tomorrow morning. And the threat continues into into Pennsylvania, where not only was a state of emergency declared yesterday, but Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York now all have travel bans for any tractor trailers in these 3 areas. Tractor trailer traffic is forbidden until this storm passes through. David, are you hearing anything on your end in terms of national weather alerts or anything on social media? Do we not have David?
All right, David currently isn't here right now, but currently national.
Yes, sorry, I'm back. Just go again. Apology to our viewers. We are also simulcasting onto Facebook off the main channel. So go again, Tim, with the question, right?
I was asking if we had anything on the news wire in terms of alerts from the National Weather Service or anything on social media that has caught your attention in regards to the winter storm threat or the severe weather threat in the southern part of the United States.
Not at this point in time. We know that we've had the disruptions with air traffic, and we had that plane run off the runway or skid off the runway. But the conditions are worsening, and we have to. So I just got my grandson here.
Not a problem.
Travel, well, you've got to avoid it. The conditions, as I said, are worsening.
Absolutely. I believe before we went on air, I was looking at the travel website FlightAware. Last numbers I had saw were 2,600 flights were delayed, another 2,500 canceled, and I believe at one point, David, you had found a note that Chicago O'Hare Airport was experiencing delays of almost 6 hours on some of their flights.
Yes, I think that will continue. I'm just looking at the late weather service, and I've done another 110 since I last looked. And we should also mention, Tim, that there have been, 3 confirmed tornadoes?
I believe there was 3 warnings and 2 confirmed. That third one, I believe, may still be being reviewed. I do know that we had seen some shots out of southern Alabama. I forget which town it that was hit earlier today. The National Weather Service has not been out there yet to release their preliminary results as to what magnitude that tornado was. So that will be something that we will be looking forward to when they get out there and assess the damage in the next day or two once this is all passed. That being said, looking at Thomas's radar, the rain snow line is right around the I-70 corridor going through Columbus and just north of Pittsburgh, and then tailing back into the southeastern part of Indiana, just southeast of Indianapolis, backtracking into the southern parts of Evansville, Indiana, and the southern part of Illinois, and even the southern edge of Kentucky and Missouri also getting some of this snow. And it looks like, Thomas, you may have dodged a bullet, or did you happen to get some of that snow there in St. Louis?
Oh, I definitely dodged a bullet. We got no snow at all here at Force 13 HQ in St. Louis, my HQ, also known as Microcasting HQ. But yeah, no snow at all, except for the old snow that we got from last week, which still remained accumulated. Yeah, other than that, doesn't look like I got anything. Although forecasted snow amounts for places like Evansville and Memphis are up to 6, 7, 8 inches for local areas.
And that is why the National Weather Service is still continuing their watches and warnings. Most of the winter storm warnings now extending through the areas that we have been discussing: southern Illinois, eastern Missouri, up to southern Kentucky, most of the state of Ohio until you get down around Strongsville, Ironton. You guys are in weather winter advisories. Most of Pennsylvania, excluding, I believe that's the Philadelphia, maybe Reading area, is under winter weather advisories. Most of New York State, including Long Island, where Force 13's Dimitri reported to us yesterday, they are all under winter storm warnings, and going up into the New England areas.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We have some breaking news.
Go for it.
Breaking news being that the tornado watch down in the Georgia, Florida, Alabama area has now been extended. Again, that has now been extended to numerous new counties on the Florida Panhandle. So not only do we have the severe weather, we do have now an extended tornado watch. That tornado watch is now for the following counties. So the following counties are in this tornado watch. It's in the Big Bend. This is Gadsden, Leon, Liberty, and in the Panhandle we have Gulf County. In south central Georgia we have Quillette, Thomas, Tift, Turner, and Worth counties, and in southwest Georgia we have Baker, Declare, Darty, Grady, Lee, and Mitchell counties. So those are all the counties that I have at the moment.
Do you know when that new tornado watch is going to expire for the viewers?
All right, so that new tornado watch issued here very, very recently, and it does expire at 11 p.m. Central Daylight Time tonight.
All right, that is a new tornado watch into southern Georgia and northwestern part of Florida, including the Big Bend area. Some of those areas affected include the Albany, Georgia area, Tallahassee, Pensacola, and New Mexico Beach down in that area where Hurricane Michael went through a few months ago. I'm pretty sure cleanup efforts are still ongoing there. So this is definitely not something they need to be coming through in that area. But back to the watches and warnings we were discussing. We do have some heavy freezing, some flood watches in and around the southern New Jersey and Delaware area. These also extend down into some of the rivers in the south. And we do have a severe thunderstorm watch in the southern part of the U.S. on top of that tornado watch that Thomas was alluding to earlier. So it's definitely been very busy for us at Force 13 US, tracking all of this mess that's been coming through. If you guys do have any questions for us, you can tag us at Force 13 US. We will be continuing coverage on the USN main channel for about 15 minutes. Nathan Foy will be coming in on the Force 13 channel to discuss what is now Tropical Depression Amar, I believe it is, off the Philippine coast of the Visayas region. So he will be joining us in about 15 minutes, and our coverage will split from there. So those that want to check out the tropical depression, you guys will want to go to the Force 13 main channel. While those that want to stay focused on Winter Storm Harper, you guys will want to go to the Force 13 US channel, where we will continue coverage there till 9 o'clock Eastern Time, or later depending if certain events unfold and require us to stay on there. But that being said, David, do you guys have anything new coming across outside of what we just discussed?
The flood watch, or the flood warning, continues for the following river, free river state affecting Columbia, Gilchrist, Suwannee County, Santa Fe. Weather, significant weather advisory for southeastern Henry County in southeastern Alabama, Clay, Randolph, northwestern Baker, Calhoun, early Tyrrell counties in southwest Georgia until 8:30. We have one for Putnam, western Baldwin, Bibb, northwestern Hancock, Jones, southeastern Jasper counties.
And those were flood warnings in those areas. That means those areas are prone to flooding. If you guys are in that area, you guys do need to get to higher ground. Be wary of small rivers and streams that could overflood roadways. Let's see what we have while we're taking a look. I'll go back to the national radar, courtesy of the National Weather Service, see what else we can dig up. I'm pretty sure the viewers probably have a couple questions if they're out there.
And Tim, I should mention to you that we are live broadcasting on the main channel, and a special welcome to those that are viewing the simulcast off the US channel on the main channel with the help of Nathan in the background. So, Tim, we are currently live.
Awesome. And again, thanks to Nathan to allowing this opportunity to simulcast on both channels, as this has turned into a very dangerous event for everybody here in the United States. We were contemplating whether or not we were going to go live earlier, and as the situation developed, the need definitely became necessary. As for the flights that you were alluding to, David, I'm actually going to check this again. This was courtesy of FlightAware, as it shows. Actually, I just updated it. Over 2,700 delays of flights today in and out of the U.S., over 2,450 cancellations, and then going into tomorrow, there's already 1,300 flights canceled. So definitely goes to show that this is definitely affecting travel all across the eastern seaboard and the Great Lakes and southern part of the U.S.
Regional radar shows deformation snow band over portions of central Indiana into far southern Illinois, western Kentucky. This snow band is situated on the northwest, located over south central Kentucky. Some persistent localized enhancement of snowfall is occurring over southern Indiana, and this trend should continue, particularly for areas along near the rain snow transition line. The deformation zone is expected to continue progressing eastward as the low moves east-northeast and continues to deepen. As this process unfolds, moderate to heavy snow will occur with 1 to 2 inches snowfall rates.
And this is the area that David was talking about. I believe that is that area just south of Indianapolis, if I'm not mistaken. If we can zoom in on that, Thomas, for the viewers to kind of get an idea of where we were just talking about there.
And Tim, that information came with in Norman.
Okay, so that information came out of the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman,
That's
Oklahoma.
Correct. Yep.
All right, so that.
And it's the mesoscale discussion 34.
Okay, so I know I looked at the mesoscale discussion 33 earlier before we went live, and They were still calling for the convective line in the southern part of the U.S. to still kind of maintain itself, which is why the tornado watches are still in place and why there are still severe thunderstorm warnings in place in the southern part of the U.S. And looks like is that a small craft advisory that you're picking up on your radar there, Thomas, just south of Panama City?
Yeah, this is a special marine warning. Really talking about the possibility of a water spout and 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts. That's at 49 knots. It's about 60 miles an hour. So definitely some strong winds can be expected, and even a possible water spout.
And the concerning fact with that, and this is just my own opinion, is if that track keeps going east like it should be, that could be into the Crystal River area probably in the next 3-4 hours. Let's hope it actually loses its intensity between now and then. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
You're actually
definitely.
able to track
This
that
is
out
great.
for us.
Yeah, so here we are. This is it currently tracked out. So you can see the following cities are going to really be impacted by this. Mexico Beach, really pretty much already being impacted. That'd be 6:53 when you're going to get hit by the core. 6:55 is when Bristol's going to get hit by the core of the system. 6:57 is when Wichita is going to get hit by this. Fort St. Joe will get hit at 7:05. Granta at 7:14. 7:19 for Quincy. 7:26 for, I think that's Apalachicola.
Yeah,
There we go.
Apalachicola. It's all right.
You're good. 7:27 for Midway, 7:30 for Havana, and 7:30 as well for East Point.
All
So
right,
those are the current track.
and yeah, and these are the thunderstorms that are producing some severe weather threat. There have been some reports of funnel clouds and tornadoes with this line, with some winds of 60 to 70 mile per hour, and some 3/4 inch size hail being reported from some of these. So definitely, if you're living in and around these areas, do take caution and make sure that you're not out in this mess, either in the south or in the northern part of the U.S., where the snowfall is still predominantly coming down at a heavy rate. Definitely avoid being on the roads in either of these areas if you can help it.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. Snowfall is going to be a very, very dangerous aspect of what's going to be going on up in the north here. I have local storm reports turned on so we can see what exactly people are saying. You can see about 1.5 inches of snow being reported in Clearfield County in Pennsylvania. You can see up here we already have about 3 inches in this chunk of Pennsylvania, in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania, and they haven't even gotten the brunt of the storm yet. So over a foot of snow isn't looking too unrealistic, and when you're just on the outer edges, you can see anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of snow being reported in some spots. And due to the lake effect snow, 5.7 inches being reported in Monroe County, New York.
And that is a concern with this storm. That is, with the way it's tracking, is it is going to be pulling some moisture off the Great Lakes, Lake Erie, Lake Huron, and that's going to be blowing all that snow off into the northeast. So areas like Rochester, Buffalo, even though you guys are not getting impacted by the storm directly, lake effect snow will become a potential as the storm moves through. I believe you still had a few of the storm total graphics available, didn't you, Thomas? Or do you need a minute to get those pulled up? Okay, did we lose Thomas there? I think we did.
I apologize. There we go. I'm back.
Not a problem.
Sorry, that was a slight mic issue, but yeah, I do have those storm total graphics ready to go.
Okay, well
so let's get started.
Yeah, we'll give you a sec to get set up. We'll come back to the National Weather Service radar while you're pulling that up. If you guys do have any questions for us, it is at Force 13 US or at Force 13 for the next few minutes before Nathan comes on to discuss Tropical Depression Amar in the Visayas region of the Philippines. And it looks like we do have some breaking news coming in on the tropical weather front. Looks like Tropical Depression 10S has formed west of Madagascar. I know Nathan will be covering that as well when he comes in about 5 minutes. So that may be something that will come up on his discussion, as the rest of us will be staying here on Force 13 US to cover the winter storm potential that's going on. there
Yes,
any
definitely.
now, are there any other information that you guys are seeing that's coming up off of the National Weather Service?
Nothing. This point in time, just monitoring the main channel chat and just local weather conditions.
Okay, looks like something just popped up here. The National Weather Service just issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Calhoun, Clay, Doherty, Early, Lee, Randolph, and Terrell counties in Georgia until 9:15 Eastern Time. There is reports of possible wind of 60 miles per hour and hail greater than 3/4 of an inch. We'll probably go back to your radar, Thomas, real quick to highlight that area that's being affected before we go to your graphics, if you can do that real quick.
Yeah, there we go. So currently there it is. This is the severe thunderstorm warning he was referring. So National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm. Western Doherty counties, southeastern Clay County, Randolph County, western Lee County, Calhoun County, northern Early County, and Terrell County. This is until 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and this was issued at 7:55 p.m. So severe thunderstorms are located in a long line extending from near Winston, 6 miles southeast to Fort Gaines, moving northeast at 25 miles an hour.
And these are areas that we have been keeping an eye on. It is still well within the tornado watch that we were discussing earlier. So if you are in these areas, definitely keep your eyes open for the possibility of funnel clouds in the area. Gusty winds of 60 miles an hour plus, and the hail potential in and around these areas. Let me see if we can. And let me see if we can pull up some other stuff while we're going back to the national radar. They just give you a chance to pull up your graphics there.
And Tim, the flow of information Twitter platform has slowed. There's not much that I can report, although the National Weather Service continues to pump out the warnings.
Okay. Well, before we split coverage, we'll come back right quick to Thomas one last time. Nathan Foy will be coming on to the main channel to discuss the tropical cyclone situation in the Philippines and now in Madagascar. I don't know if he'll cover Madagascar, but I know the Philippines is going to be...
Just busy for a minute, mate.
Okay.
Sorry.
I know.
So, yeah, before I had to... there's a blooper. No, I've got my grandson. Sorry about that.
It's all right. It'll go on the blooper reel. Don't worry. We'll make sure. But, yeah, Nathan will be covering Tropical Depression Amar on the main channel. For those that want to stay with the winter storm coverage, we will stay on Force 13 US. And before we split coverage, Thomas, this is the graphic for the freezing rain and snow potential for the next couple days. This is already areas that are already being impacted. So this will be going through Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's going to be going in to early Tuesday. So these are current freezing rain accumulations you see on your screen right now. This is forecasted accumulations by me and on behalf of the Force 13 United States Committee. And what you'll see here is that places like Evansville, Cincinnati, Indianapolis are probably going to be getting a little bit of ice, but not too much at all. It's going to be around maybe 1/4 of an inch at most. And after that, you'll see that freezing rain can go all the way up to 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Places just south of Boston and a few places in Maine, that's where I'm expecting that. So it's going to be right along that line between the rain and snow. But a lot of places are going to be getting this freezing rain, and that's definitely going to cause some travel problems. So if you are within that 1/4 to 1/2 inch of freezing rain or above, I would suggest not traveling, because it could be very dangerous. Getting into the snow, this is the forecasted snow accumulations from Harper. From me, you can see less than 1 inch, almost getting to my home city of St. Louis. You can see Evansville, Indianapolis, Charleston, and Little Rock all being in that 1 to 2, 2 to 4 inch range of snow. And you can see in the entire states of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and most of the states of New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island that 8 to 12 inches is what I am expecting right now. Then 6 to 8 inches being expected just around that before you do get down to that 3 to 6 inches. But that's going to be a very fine line. That line, even if it shifts a little bit, could bring significant differences to the amount of snow that people do get. We do have a severe weather threat as well. This is my severe weather threat map, and you can see the maximum threat that the Storm Prediction Center has given this is a slight risk. Watch probabilities are high on both severe and tornado watches, as a tornado watch has already been issued. And on the bottom, damaging wind threats are slight. Flooding is a slight threat. Large hail is virtually 0 right now. And tornadoes are also a slight threat. And then finally, let's get into some all winter weather analysis. So at the 3-day risk level, Sunday, tomorrow, going to be a high risk because we are definitely going to be seeing lots and lots of snow in places like New York, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, places up there. You'll also see a good chunk of Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana getting some of the snow as well. And then Monday and Tuesday, things go down to a slight risk. Tuesday may be needed to be updated to a moderate risk later, as we are probably going to get another system that could move it. Moderate forecast confidence has been given overall throughout the entire assessment. Winter threats are freezing rain being high, ice is also high, and snow is also high, with wind being a slight threat. Some very gusty winds are possible that could significantly affect travel, but not quite to the extent of things like freezing rain, ice, and snow.
Alright, and with that being said, it is the top of the hour. Nathan will be taking over coverage on the U.S. main channel with Tropical Depression Amar and the Visayas region of the Philippines. So those that are...
And as you've heard, we're leaving the US coverage now. That was Force 13 US's coverage on the Force 13 US channel. You can find it by going to youtube.com/Force 13 US. My name's Nathan Foy. I'll be taking you around the tropical tour, as well as David, who now joins me fresh from that other stream. David, how are you? Sorry to start again.
I'm fine, and special welcome to those on the main channel. Alright,
let's hope this button works. We're going to move away now. This is what 1W is looking like right now. The Philippine name is Amang. David, have you been watching this, and how closely?
I have been following it. I'm just about to have a look at the Joint Typhoon Warning Centre's current position, which hasn't really changed. So, Nathan, I'm going to switch it back to you with the latest from Bagasa. Have you checked their website?
Yes, we've got all the information down at the bottom of the screen, hopefully in just one moment. It hasn't changed very much since we started popping that information up. But Signal 1 warnings are in effect right now for parts of the Visayas region of the Philippines, northern Mindanao, Leyte, Samar, extending into northern Cebu as well. The storm right now is 113 miles from Bislig. That's the center of the disturbance. According to the international agencies, though, the JMA, the Japanese Meteorological Agency, and according to the JTWC, the Joint Typhoon Warning Agency, what is it called now? The JTWC Center. Oh,
Japanese
completely
Meteorological
losing.
Agency.
Joint Typhoon Warning Center is what I was trying to get to. Neither of them are calling it a tropical cyclone at this juncture.
True.
So it's just Pagasa at the minute that have called it a tropical depression, have named it Amang, have put out Signal 1 warnings for parts of the Philippines. But obviously, David, I'm sure you'll agree, the biggest threat right now, and always has been, in my opinion, and probably yours too, the rainfall threat.
Yes, I'm just about to bring up the screen share, Nathan, and I'll just focus on the
David,
rainfall.
we'll just give a moment whilst we allow someone else to join us there, and hopefully that will work okay. Down the bottom of your screen, you can see all of those Philippine regions ticking by, and the amount of rainfall we expect in all of those areas. So do pay close attention to those, because those are the latest estimates if you're in the Philippines. If there's any areas that we haven't covered, please let us know. If you've got any questions for us, start your message with Force 13 at Force 13. all in text, and on the YouTube chat we'll be taking your questions and comments, and David hopefully will be monitoring the Facebook stream. Max, how are you tonight?
Yes. Good.
You have elected to come aboard here as well, so which one have you been, what is your opinion of the system right now, and whose is that screen share?
And it's me.
That's David.
Yeah, that's the Pegasus. And look
Hold
at
on.
that area in purple.
We will as soon as we can get it onto the screen. There it is. Yes, so it's difficult to actually get a grip of what is where on that particular image, but there you have it. Max, go ahead.
Can't really see any distinct circulation with this system, and it is inching ever closer to the Philippines. Best I can tell, yeah, the JTWC has not upgraded either 1W or 92S to tropical cyclone
The
status.
JTWC it will do that. They're going to follow suit from the ATCF. We declared the breaking news about 20 minutes ago that 10S has formed in the Indian Ocean. We'll get onto that shortly, Max. But any other comments about Amang?
It appears, I'm looking on the JMA website, it also appears
Not much going on there at the minute.
they're not tracking it at the moment.
We're just waiting to get some imagery up of the newly formed 10S. It's what the JTWC will be going with as a tropical storm in about 2 hours when they do their update. We will have that for you. We will have the satellite imagery for you shortly, showing the latest in this system. It's quite far south. It's located off the southern coast of Mozambique. One or two people in our team actually likened it to it being doing a reverse Dineo, which I suppose isn't too far from the truth.
Is it still expected to make a Titan loop and then shoot off to the north? I swear I saw that on a best track somewhere.
Yes, that's what Meteo France are predicting from the storm. In a moment or two, we will be able to get that imagery to you. For the time being, we're still looking at 1W Amang, the radar imagery from the Philippines. David, if you could get some satellite imagery of that system up there as well, just in a moment or two, whilst we switch here to 10S. This is what 10S looks like right now, and it gives you a perspective on where exactly it is located. It is off the southeastern part of Mozambique, as stated, a similar location to where Dineo made landfall back in 2017. Almost 2 years now since that. Unbelievable how it's gone by so quickly. Let's get the enhanced rainfall estimate look on this so we can see what the satellite is actually estimating in terms of rainfall from this system. It's not likely to be the biggest rain threat for Mozambique, but an area like that is prone to flooding. So you know, we're talking maybe 8 inches maximum. That could still lead to problems in that area, and of course the track is not set in stone at the minute. It's got the purples about it, so it's currently delivering near the center 2 inches per hour. Clearly looks like...
What exactly would that correspond to on the CDPS?
Well, okay, we'll get onto that just a moment. But you can see it does look like a tropical storm now on the imagery. I don't think there's much argument against that. So you may have noticed on recent Force 13 updates about during the life of Amang 1W in the Philippines, which we will obviously be putting up as our main topic for tonight. But the CDPS scale has taken more center stage this year. I think that's the right thing to do. The CDPS has also changed a little bit as well. This is the Cyclone Destruction Potential Scale that Devon invented around 3 or 4 years ago, and Force 13 started to implement in 2017. And the CDPS scale is a new way of measuring how impactful a storm is going to be when it arrives on land. It's been expedited really as a result of recent systems like Harvey and Florence, where the Saffir-Simpson category didn't really correspond to the actual impacts of the storm. And of course, I think that is also true because the Saffir-Simpson scale only measures the wind speed, and the CDPS measures the wind speed, the size of the gale force winds, and now in 2019 the potential rainfall, which it didn't measure in 2018. So the stage categories have changed a little bit, so you can't compare anything that we did operationally in 2018 to what we're going to see in 2019. That's the foremost and most important point, because the stages are now a little bit different to what they previously were. But needless to say, it briefly Amang briefly reached stage 4 earlier, and stage 4 is still stage 4. Extensive amounts of damage likely. But obviously storms of last year might have got a different grade if they happened now. I hope that makes sense. But there we have it. If you're wondering where the US coverage went, it's on the Force 13 US channel. We're doing 2 separate streams tonight amongst the Force 13 team. Our US team are on the case with the severe weather going on over there, whilst we talk about the 2 tropical cyclones that are currently out there in the world during this hour on the main channel. You're looking at Tropical Storm 10S, which has been declared by the, or will be declared by the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, and on David's screen now you can also see satellite imagery visible of 1W named Amang by Pegasa. If you've got any comments or questions for us, do send them in. We will be able to take all of them. Start your message with Force 13, and let's see if we've got any right now. Is tropical disturbance Amang going to be a tropical storm? Is one question there.
Yeah,
what do you think?
See that one. It is getting closer to the Philippines. It's not completely out of the question that it might be able to slightly intensify whilst over some of the islands or in the water between the islands, as we have seen occurrences like that before.
They're really very split, the models, on whether it will get to tropical storm status or not. Oh, David zoomed in. That's nice. So there it is, a little bit jumpy on that satellite imagery for some unknown reason.
Yes, the NOAA floaters have been having issues over the last few days. Well, that's the Vorak. And Nathan, if you like, I could bring up the wind shear for the Westpac region if you've got
Not
something.
a problem. We'll just bring it back to 10S for a moment or two whilst we continue to look at it and assess exactly what it's doing. Visible imagery won't be there just yet, but it shouldn't be too far away. But its general motion is likely to be towards a northerly direction. I just want to toss it back to you, David, for just a moment whilst I get up the latest Meteo France track.
Alright, so we'll just come back.
There again is the visible imagery of Cyclone 1W. I'm now ready with this Meteo France track. This is the expected track according to them for this new system, Tropical Storm 10S, which has been designated by the US Navy. It has not been designated as a tropical storm officially, and the officials in this case are the regional center in La Reunion. This is their take on the system, although it is a little bit out of date now. They haven't done a new map, but this was as of 4 PM local time, which is a good 13 hours ago now, so I think they ought to update pretty soon. But at that last update they didn't even have it as a tropical depression, so I doubt they will have it as a tropical storm at the next update, but you never know. They do nonetheless predict a tropical storm to make landfall in Mozambique. They're expecting that to occur on the 21st. That would now be tomorrow, Monday. But the models, they're pretty much in agreement with this, and tropical storm. HWRF does have an outside chance of it becoming a Category 1 on the Saffir-Simpson scale, so that remains to be seen. We'll see what happens with that, but likely to be short-lived, David.
Yes, I'm waiting to see what the Joint Typhoon Warning Centre has to say in their next update, which should be, what, any time now or still a few hours?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because
it just looks. It seems like they're overdue an update.
Now here's the wind shear, Nathan. I've got it on the screen, and
all right, looking back to the Philippines now. Yeah.
Wind shear was going to be a killer for the system, especially as it tracks.
It's like David's been caught out of action there.
Yeah, so one of my grandsons.
The joys of being a grandparent there.
Today. Oh yes. Okay, so here's the wind shear, and there's not much room.
No, there's a lot. It's a very
what,
hostile environment around the system. There is a question: what storm can most be compared to Amang? Well, ironically, Usman is a big analog because we're expecting similarly high amounts of rainfall to fall over the same locations in the next few days from this system. The track might be a little bit different, but not that much different really when you think about it. But really it is going to be a very similar kind of thing, although less broad. But that is the closest example to hand, and obviously it's the most recent as well.
So the environment is very unhealthy for the tropical depression.
Another look there confirming that the wind shear is not looking very good, David.
That is very true.
Let's see if we can take a look at some other imagery now of what is now 10S, although it might take a little bit longer yet. Alright, we'll wait for that one. We'll leave it with David for now. Oh, he's getting up the floater imagery of 90S.
Is that the one that's been upgraded?
No.
No, but that's the one closer to my area, 92S.
Oh, I was okay. We'll look at this now.
Well,
I've got it back on. We've got it back on my screen now. So if you want to go and just grab 90S, because some people might want to know about that one as well.
90S, right?
If that is still going, because I don't recall. Is it still out? I don't remember 90S.
Yeah, 90S is still active. It's
right.
Near the Cocos Keeling Island, which is.
We'll get onto that shortly. This is a how long? This is actually a 24-hour progression of what is now Tropical Storm 10S. So, from how it looked 24 hours ago, if I was to stop it in the middle, I've just missed it. If I was to stop it just about here, that was at the time of the last update for Meteo France. So this is what has happened since then, quite a lot really. And so now it's looking much better than it did when they did their last update. So I don't know where the next one is, but on their map they're still showing it as a tropical disturbance. The JTWC will be calling it a tropical storm at their update, which is due in about an hour or two. Meteo France, who knows what they're going to do with their next update. But that is the situation with 10S. A reminder of all of what's going on in the Philippines at the bottom of your screen as we continue tonight. Signal 1 warnings in effect for parts of the Visayas region, especially in the east, northern Mindanao, and a few other locations as well. In fact, if I was to just... In fact, we'll head over to David and then I'll grab my bearings. David, we're looking at 90S. No, we're not now. You've gone back to 92S.
Sorry, there's 90S.
Okay, so there's a quick look at Invest 90S, and whilst we're looking at that,
Yes.
a reminder of the current warnings that are in effect in the Philippines. This is according to Pagasa's last update, which occurred at 8 AM. So that's just an hour ago. Signal 1 warnings for Eastern Samar, Biliran, Leyte, Southern Leyte, Eastern Bohol and Northern Cebu. In Mindanao, Signal 1 warnings for Agasan del Sur and del Norte, Surigao del Sur and del Norte, Dinagat Islands and Camiguin. Impacts of the wind expected: very light or no damage to high-risk structures, light damage to medium to low-risk structures, slight damage to some houses or very light materials or makeshift structures in exposed communities, and several other things there as well. 30 to 60 km/h winds they're expecting in the next 36 hours, although, as with Usman, the rainfall threat is going to be by far the biggest threat of anything that Amang can throw at the islands. I'll allow David to switch back to imagery of Amang now as we look back at 10S. We've not got everything completely sorted here, so that's why I couldn't do it myself, but that is the latest on what we're expecting, and this is what we're looking at right now. Its proximity to Madagascar delivering some amounts of rainfall there. Mozambique is going to get the main course of this system. I wonder if we could just have a look. This actually is a recent rain estimate from the HWRF model in the Philippines. You can see this is how our numbers have been derived at the bottom of the screen, and it's very hit and miss really, but you can see elevated areas on Samar could get in excess of 32 inches of rain, although with those very high numbers they can move around quite suddenly, so I wouldn't put much stock into that, but it would be quite sufficient to say that rainfall totals in Samar and in Leyte and northern Leyte, I would say, could reach 600 millimeters or more in high areas. In lower reaches it could still be in excess of 200 millimeters, and that might be a little bit on the low side. This has been trending down slightly, so it could fall further depending on whether the system materializes in the way the HWRF model expects. What you can be pretty much assured about is that turn towards the south is going to prevent significant amounts of rainfall from reaching areas north of Manila. Central and northern Luzon should be in the clear from this storm, from rain and from wind. South of Manila, there's maybe some areas that will be safe from significant amounts of rainfall there as well. Mindoro remains to be seen at the moment. You can see there significant amounts of rainfall in the central part of the island, which is obviously a much higher elevation, but along the coastline they're not expecting very much rain there at the moment. That could change. Any islands further east are definitely not in the clear at this moment in time, with significant amounts of rainfall expected in all of those islands at this stage, extending as far south as central Mindanao. Westernmost Mindanao looks to be just about clear, but with the storm tracking down there later on in its life after it becomes a remnant low, we'll have to keep being vigilant on that one, just in case we get some significant rainfall. But certainly wind is not going to be a prime concern, although there could be some gusty winds and there could be sustained winds of 60 kilometers per hour. David?
Unfortunately, my computer has crashed on the Facebook page, so it's now just the main channel coverage, and the tropical depression, it's mainly the rainfall factor, and again the region just sees more flooding.
Alright then, well, I guess, David, and Max, I think that pretty much covers everything, so I wonder whether we should throw it back to the US coverage whilst we're still around. Whilst they're still around. I mean,
yes.
and we're at a very early stage here, so we have exhausted a lot of what's going on, but if there is any breaking news, I guess we'll cut back in. Unless there's any objections. I don't know. But that is the latest situation on these two storms that are currently located. One of them in the Indian Ocean, Tropical Storm 10S, and Tropical Disturbance, although Pegasa call it a depression, Tropical Depression Amang, over there as well. So we're going to finish up our coverage here now. We're going to throw it back to the US channel, covering the severe weather going on there at the moment. Thanks very much to David and Max for joining me, and we'll hand it back there now.
Possible. Nobody is to be on the roads unless you're emergency personnel or authorized to be on the roads. So definitely keep an eye on your area to determine whether or not it is going to be a good idea to actually travel out in these areas. And
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good idea to do so.
Do you have any other final thoughts, Thomas, before we wrap it up? We'll probably be wrapping it up just a couple minutes early because I think we've covered everything we can.
All right. David is back. So, David, we are about to close the stream. Do you have any final about to end?
Now, I've got quite a bit of background noise, so I'll have to leave it to the both of you for the time being.
Not a problem. I guess we're back on the main channel, so we'll run the full.
Yes, we are.
Okay, I was not aware. We'll run the full course. I guess we'll wrap it up right quick. We'll go back to the radar that Thomas has up. In summary, most of the northern United States is experiencing heavy snowfall. Some areas getting 8 to 12 inches in some areas. This area will be moving towards the northeast of the New England area in the next day or two. Be aware of the snow and ice potential where some areas are getting some icing overnight. And even if it does warm up, this will turn back into some ice as it gets colder. Most of the areas that are being affected do have some sort of emergency snow plan in place. New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey has a travel ban for any tractor trailers in the area, meaning no tractor trailer traffic in those areas. The state of Ohio currently has 24 counties under level 1 and level 2 snow alerts, meaning roads are hazardous to travel on, and if your county is under a level 2 snow alert, you should be checking your county offices to see if you should be on the roads, and check your employer to see if you need to be reporting for work. Moving down into the southern part of the U.S., there is a tornado watch in effect until 10 p.m. local time, some areas at 11 p.m. local time, with a tornado warning ongoing for Gadsden and Decatur counties right on the Georgia-Florida line for about the next 20 minutes. So if you're in this area, you need to be seeking shelter and get out of the storm's path.
And Tim, I'm just going to quickly cut in concerning the noise sign. The winter storm is starting to go crazy. It's really ramped up since we've been covering it.
Oh, and I don't doubt it. We've been doing the best we can to cover this extensively for the last hour and a half. We definitely have had our hands full on the stream and in pre-production, so definitely it's been a challenge covering this, but we hope we did it justice here at Force 13 US. Again, everybody stay safe out there. This is definitely not something you really want to be out in. I got the wrong outro there, but it's definitely not something you really want to be out in if you can help it. definitely stay safe, guys. David, any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Well, from my position, avoid travelling. The roads are far too dangerous, and as we know, planes have been impacted. There's been many road accidents where people have been skidding off the road. So my key message is don't travel unless you really got to.
Thomas, any final thoughts for you this evening?
Yeah, I think that the big message that I want to get across, this system should not be taken lightly. This is high amounts of snow. It's not anything overly historic for the Northeast, but it still is dangerous. So while a lot of people, especially in like Tornado Alley, don't take tornado warnings seriously, people still die from tornadoes. Same thing goes for winter storms. People in the Northeast, a lot of them don't take those winter storm warnings seriously because they get them a lot. People still die from winter storm. So for those that don't take it too seriously, I just want you to put it into consideration that this is a serious event and something that does need to be taken seriously for your own safety and the safety of those around you.
Indeed, and we're going to take one last look of everything before we wrap it up tonight. Again, this has been Force 13 US live covering Winter Storm Harper. This is the quick glance at the National Weather Service radar, with snow being impacted through the north, thunderstorms in the south, and a quick look at the watches and warnings, with the winter storm warnings being in the northern part of the U.S. and the severe weather threat in the south. We hope you guys have enjoyed tonight's coverage of Winter Storm Harper here at Force 13 US. We do wish you guys a safe night and have a good evening.